Welcome back to the Crochet Chronicles, my friends over at JOANN.com. I'm your host, Mikey. Today is week number 3 as we continue our journey in this beautiful Afghan. We're approximately at the halfway point after we get this particular one done because there are 6 weeks, but there's only 5 main panels in this whole blanket. So today we're going to start doing some trellis work. We're going to be implementing an idea with the stitch markers. If you think you can do it without stitch markers, all the power to you. Myself, I can't, and the designer actually has left us so many great instructions that you really cannot go wrong. And once you see how I'm doing it, I think you'll be able to get it done really quickly. Even when the camera went off at the end of this whole taping, then I was still using those stitch markers. So don't think that I was like a super genius or something. So we're gonna head on into the studio and continue our journey with our friends over at JOANN, and let's go to the halfway point today. So let's begin week number 3. We're going to do the diamond trellis pattern, and we're going to be able to follow this pattern as we're just doing everything, and you can see what's going on here. This is actually a pretty simple repeat pattern, but the trick to this one is knowing where to put your trebles that are the front posts that are coming down around this. So it's going to be a nice tight stitch. So let's talk a little bit about this diagram that we see, because it seems like that it would be wrong if you follow this versus that. So let's talk about that. So when we're looking at this, it feels like it's wrong. And the difference is that crochet tends to naturally lean in one direction or another. So when you're going back and forth, you can see that it's leaning, and that's why Afghans and etc., they don't always perfectly line up when you're going to do that. So this is going to perfectly line up because it's been drawn in a way that makes sense for when you're doing it. So you do have to follow those instructions when we're able to do this. So in row number 2, we have to place our stitch markers in a key spot so that when we're ready to go, we can physically see them. So you need a total of 32 stitch markers if you would like to do this concept. Now when you're doing this kind of concept and you're kind of confused about it, the fact is that you can probably, and you can try to do it without stitch markers if you know the right counts. So when we're going to do row number 5, when we come down, we have to make sure that we're coming into that very first one at that point to start, and then we're single crocheting the next 4 and then coming back into the next one to create this look. So we have to make sure that we're watching that when we're going to be able to do it. So if you can probably locate the beginning ones of each row, you might have success without having to do stitch markers. But of course we don't want you to get left behind in this, so stitch markers are the way to go. So you're going to notice is that when we have this repeat, you're going to notice that the stitch markers are moved. So when it's red, we're just adding the stitch markers there, and only when we're doing rows number 5 and 9 we're actually dropping down to create the trellis. So hopefully that makes sense. So you can use actual stitch markers, but I'm a person that I like to use spare yarn, so I will be marking those stitches as they go. So without further ado, we're going to head into week number 3 here, and we're going to start off with the very first one, and we're going to do one single crochet in each one of the stitches. So you will notice that the stitch markers, when we go to place those in, those will be on the wrong side. So we want to go around the post itself so that we can find that post later on in the future. You're also going to notice is that this here is starting way off in the center, from the edge. Why is that? Let's take a look at the other diagram. When we come to this section here, this is the diagram that Erin made for us, and what you're going to notice is that this trellis section is just like a pocket inside of the blanket. It's kind of grayed out here, but you see that there's space left out on the edge, so it doesn't start off until a little bit halfway. See the point of the diamond? That's kind of where it starts, and then that's where it finishes on this side. So that's kind of a neat thing. So it gives you a little bit of a break on the edges, though you don't need to worry about it, but then you create this lattice formation on the inside. Okay, let's grab our hook and let's begin row number 1. So let's begin row number 1. We're looking at the right side of the project where the bobbles are facing up. That is the right side, and that's exactly where we finished. So we're just starting again. So chain up 1 and apply 1 single crochet in each of the stitches, going all the way across, please, and then meet me at the end of this row. So I just finished row number 1. We're gonna turn our work, and I'm gonna show you a little trick to help you to be able to identify. I told you that the lattice work is just inside of this blanket, so there's actually a bit of a gap on both edges. So let's identify where that gap is gonna be first. Grab 2 stitch markers and meet me back here in just a moment. So on both sides I want you to count to this 16th stitch. So the last 16 stitches and the first 16 are all single crochet. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16. 16 is where I want to go. So I'm just gonna use a different color stitch marker, and that will identify those 16 that. So rows number 2 through 9 is the repeat pattern. We have to do it total 4 times. Okay, so 2 through 9, 2 through 9, 2 through 9, 2 through 9. So what I want you to do in row number 2 is that we're gonna just chain up 1, and I need you to start single crocheting. So do the first 16. Guess where you counted to? 16. So count it out anyway just to make sure that you got it. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 and 16. I'm gonna go to the diagram. I'm gonna show you something real quick. So in row number 2 here, you'll notice that the stitch markers are side by side, the red ones. So what we can do is that we can mark around 2 stitches at the same time with 1 stitch marker. I'll show you how to do that. But when we do this in row number 6, we have to do the one by itself, and then they go in groups of pairs. So just envision that they're in pairs just like it is here, but we just have this one that stands alone, and that we just have to make a count as we're doing that. So let's begin to do this, and this is step number 2, and let's just make sure that we get our stitch markers in place now. You will notice that there's 4 single crochets that separate the place markers too. So my 16 are now in, and I want to show you a little trick. It says in the instructions, place a stitch marker around the last post made, which is the 16th one. So you can use another crochet hook if you wish. I'm just pulled it out just for your simplification, and you want to go in the space between the last 2 stitches here. So just go out through the back and just grab another stitch marker, and I figured out that you can probably label 2 of them at the same time with the same stitch marker. So just put it in and then put your regular hook back on, and I'm gonna show you a faster way of doing that as well. So then what you can do then is just single crochet in the next one, which is the pair, and without any hesitation just lay the stitch marker over top like that. And therefore this stitch marker will then show you the 2 that are sitting side by side. So it'll show you on the back side, and it will show you on the front side. Then you want to carry on. So the next 4 in a row are each a single crochet. So 1 2 3 and 4. But before you continue, grab another stitch marker, lay it on top like this, and then single crochet the next 2. So 1 and 2, and then put that stitch marker on the back side over, and therefore those 2 just get marked. So then you do the next 4. So I'll show you one more time. So 1 2 3 and 4. So you have to finish the stitch and then lay it over top of that strand. If you put it underneath, it gets hidden. So okay, and then do the next 2. So 1 and 2, and then from the back side pull that one forward, and therefore you'll have all of your 2 that are labeled like that. I want you to go all the way to when you get to that 16th stitch that's on the other side that we already marked, and that will be then the conclusion of that one as well. So of this whole marking. So we're gonna leave that in position. So I'll see you at the end of this row where the 16 starts, and we'll just quickly verify at that point. So I've now just finished here, and you can see everything is working out pretty good, and I have my 16 that's been marked already. So I'm just gonna do single crochet 1 into the last 16 that you have. Okay, so please do this, and then what I need you to do is that we're gonna turn our work and leave in those stitch markers. You'll see them all there in groups of 2. We're not gonna use those right away, and we're going to progress on to row number 3. So in the very last stitch, just go in single crochet, ignore that stitch marker, it's just for photography reasons, and then we're gonna turn our work and then begin row number 3. 3. In row number 3, nice easy row, just one single crochet, chain 1 and then one single crochet into each. Just ignore the stitch markers that are marked. Those are just there for you to be using later, but not quite yet. So just row number 3, one single crochet in each stitch going across, please. Coming up to the end of row number 3, and then we just simply turn our work again. Ignore those stitch markers, we're not ready for those yet. And row number 4, same thing, just chain up one single crochet in each, going all the way across. The honeymoon's gonna be ending, folks, so we're gonna be doing that fun stuff coming up right after this in row number 5. I'll see you at the end of this row. So let's begin the 5th row, and when we're looking at the 5th row, what's gonna happen here is that we're going to single crochet and we're going to do the first 13. Then we're gonna do a front post treble and we're going to pick up the first one that is in the marked place marker. That stitch here counts as this single crochet, so it's gonna sit in front, so you wanna make sure that you're gonna skip over that when you go to start the next 4. So the next 4 are single crochets, and this front post treble is gonna come to the other one that is in the group. And once you complete both of them, just pull out your stitch marker and you'll use it again. You're then going to go to the next one here, so front post treble around the next one in the next place marker. So there's 2 front post trebles here in a row. So when you start this next grouping of 4, you just have to make sure you're skipping over those 2 that those 2 are sitting in front of. So that's gonna just keep on repeating until you get close to the end of where you've marked the last stitch markers on the other side. So you'll notice that there is a nice gapping space and on the other side. So let's take a look at this and let's move on to row number 5. So as we start the 5th row, we're going to do our first 13 and then we're just gonna connect somewhere here, and we'll be counting that, and then we'll come into the first. We'll then do our 4 single crochets and then connect back and then connect to the next one here. So you'll see this all working out. So once you have the pairs done, you can just literally pull those out, save that for next time. And when you get to the other side, the very last one before the end, that's gonna be the last one that you're gonna go into, and we'll get you there in just a moment. So let's begin and start row number 5. Let's begin row number 5 and we're gonna chain up 1 and do 1 single crochet in the first 13. So let's count those together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So you're thinking, okay, this is way over there. That's fine, that's what you're looking for. So the next one here is going to be a front post treble. So wrap in the hook twice and come into the first one that's in the pair. So just coming in, just poke in and then back out the other side and then pull through and then pull through 2 and 2 and back up. So this stitch counts as the next one that's in the row. I know it's kinda hard to see with this yarn, but it's right there. So when we start the next one, we're gonna start in the second one and we're gonna do the next 4 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So because it's starting, we only have one just sitting here on its own. So the next one is going to be in the second one of that same pair. So wrapping, so front post treble, and then come back and collect that second one. And the very next stitch after this is also a front post treble, but it's connecting to this one here. So just wrap twice, pull through 2, 2, and 2. So all the way back up. So these 2 just counted as 2 stitches. So in behind they count as the next 2. So you come to the third one and then that's where you start your 4 single crochets again. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I'll show you one more time. So we're gonna, you got your 4, so you're gonna do a front post treble around the second one, and then you're just gonna wrap twice and go to the next one over here. So connect it. So So those counted as 2 stitches, so they count as the 2. So skipping, go to the 3rd and do 4 in a row. So I want you to go all the way and fill in the last section here of the stitch markers along this row, and I'll see you over there, and that's just before you end up with the large gap at the end. So once you have these done, you can just simply pull them out. You'll be using those again, so don't waste them and don't throw them out. So I'll see you at the end of this row. So I'm coming near the end, and that's the last one I can see there. Did a nice orange so I can really obviously see my stitch markers. So that's gonna be the last one that goes in, and putting that in front post treble, and so that counts as the next stitch. So then you're just going to single crochet yourself all the way back to the other side now. So when we turn, we're going to start row number 6. In 6 we're gonna be placing those stitch markers. We're gonna take you back to the diagram, give you some clues on that, and you can pull out all your stitch markers if you haven't already done so, and then we're gonna restart again with our next part. So let's move on to row number 6. Just at the end of this, just turn your work and let's begin the next section. When you look at the diagram for row number 6, you're gonna see that there's one sitting by itself, and then you have your 4 like you did before, and then it goes in groups of pairs. So 2, 2, 2, 2. So at the very last one, in order to keep it consistent, you're gonna have one that's off on its own like so. So you kinda see it there, right? So just remember there's one on its own, and then 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and then the very last one will just be one by itself, and you'll kind of see how it's gonna match anyway. So let's begin to do that, and let's place our stitch markers as we go. So let's begin. We are going to just chain up 1, and we're gonna place 1 single crochet in the next 14. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Now you're thinking to yourself, why were you just counting that when you already marked it? Honey, I'm not that brilliant. Okay, so you could have done that too. So I just do it just to prove that it is working properly without any camera tricks. So we want to mark that one. So this one is gonna be the one that's gonna be by itself. So I should have just put that in the last one. So let's just pull it through. Okay, and then we'll put it to the side here. So the last one has been marked. So now for the remaining of this, except for the very last one, it's gonna be in pairs. So the next 4 are single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we're going to add a stitch marker in. So 1 and 2, and then pull that around. So there's your pair, and then the next 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now if you can do it without stitch markers, all the power to you. I just think for the few seconds it takes, I think you're saving yourself quite a bit of grief, and it's a great idea by the designer to do that. Okay, so do that, and I'll see you at the last part here on the very last one that we're gonna be marking on the other side. Okay, so now I'm where I marked it here. You see this is the 19th. So I have the 2 pairs here just before this. So we're going to single crochet the next 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and watch what I do. This is the 5th one. Put a stitch marker there. That's the one that's gonna be on its own. Okay, and pull it through. So now you can just safely just single crochet yourself all the way back to the end of this, and you can see that when you turn it over, those stitch markers are matching. So you have all your stitch markers hanging there, and we're going to then progress to row number 7 and 8, and guess what it is? It's just single crochet. So I'll kick you off with that, and then I'll see you at the next part of this video. So let's begin rows 7 and 8. Just chain up 1 and 1 single crochet in each. So please do row number 7 and 8 now, and then I'll meet you here at the next part, which will be row number 9, where we'll do the second part of this lattice work here, which will then be the conclusion. So rows number 2 through 9 will then be complete. So right now just complete 7 and 8, just single crochet, and I'll see you in row number 9 next. We're about to start row number 9. So number 9, we're gonna have one that's by itself. You can see it's by itself, and then you got your groups of pairs. So you can see where 2 come together. You're gonna probably have 2 coming out. Not probably, you are. So you got 1 coming here, and then 2 in pairs all the way to the other side. So you'll do that all the way then across, and then there will be 1 on its own, and I will get you there in just a moment. Let's go back to the diagram for a quick review, and then we'll be kicking off number 9. When we start number 9, we're gonna single crochet, and we gotta do the first 15, and then we're going to connect to the one that we just passed. So it's just gonna be slightly just passing it, and then you'll just then come into the next one that you connect. So remember what I said in the very beginning about this chart looking like it's askew? It's because the stitches do lean, and when you see it working out here, you'll see that it will match up perfectly. So let's begin, and let's do number 9, and let's crochet the first 15 stitches, and then let's begin the fun stuff. So let's begin the first 15, chain up 1, and let's count those together. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, and I told you it's just slightly past, which it is. So then you're just gonna do a front post treble around the only one that's marked there. That's the beginning one. Do a front post treble there all the way, and then you're going to reach over to the next one and do that first one. So remember, those 2 count as the next 2 in the lineup. So 1, 2, go to the third and do the next 4 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then you're going to front post treble around the second one of that grouping, and then front post treble around the next one over here. Reach all the way over there. Beautiful, isn't it? So then chain 2, or sorry, skip the next 2 and single crochet in the next 4. So do this all the way across. I'll meet you at the very last one that we're gonna do the front post treble on, and then we'll do a quick recap, and this will then conclude off then the sequence of 2 through 9, which you'll do total 4 times. So we're just passing the first time, so you'll do it 3 more times after this. So coming up to the last one here, it's by itself, and if you look at the lattice work, you can see that it makes sense too. So that's gonna be your last one that you do the front post treble to. Okay, and those 2 that count as the next 2, so go to the third, and then just single crochet yourself all the way back to the end of the row. So what we can do now is that we can go back to row number 2 through 9. So just reverse this video and reset your stitch markers. Get those all ready for you. If you can do it without stitch markers, all the power to you. Myself, even though I'm experienced, I am going to use those stitch markers. I want to be right. We put so much work already into it, and it's week number 3. So I would like to have an afghan that looks amazing. So this is what it would look like. So now you can just reverse the video, and let's just quickly review what the next steps will be. So this is where I'm gonna leave you for now, and you are going to repeat rows number 2 through 9 3 more times. So you have to do it a total of 4 times. That'll take you to the 33rd row, and then what we're going to do after we get that one done there is just that we're gonna do a chain 1 and do 1 single crochet in row number 34 on the wrong side, because that's where we're gonna be, and then this is gonna conclude off week number 3. So what I'm going to do is that I'm gonna meet you at the end of the 4th repeat. Okay, so at the end of number 9, make sure that you do get that single crochet in there, and then we call this video end for the day. So right now I have to put my hook in the wind, and let me get started. I hope you're just as enthusiastic about this afghan. I love it. I think it's great. So I'll see you in just a few seconds, and we will do number 34 together with you. And welcome back, and I've had this done. I'm shocked on how fast this whole thing is moving. I consider myself just a excited crocheter. I don't feel myself as a speed crocheter, but this thing is moving actually pretty quickly. So I've done my 4 repeats of 2 through 9, and now I'm at the number 9 here. So what I want to do is just one last row. I want just to turn my work, and I'm going to be on the wrong side, which you can see clearly it is, and you're just going to chain 1 and then 1 single crochet across, and that will conclude off this week, which is week number 3. So we're actually technically at the halfway point of the really big effort when it comes to this particular blanket, and then we're gonna move on in the next video, number 4. I'll see you then. So that's it for week number 3. You're gonna have your trellis stuff done. It's gonna look really amazing. You just watch and see. And don't forget, use those stitch markers. It really did help me in order to speed my way through, and it's really quite awesome. At least I think so. So if you're gonna share with social media, remember it's handmade with JOANN, as well as our friend, well as myself, the Crochet Crowd right here. We want to see your work in progress. We want to hear your stories, and of course, we want to see you have a success story too. So that's it for today. Have a good one. And we'll see you again next time, week number 4, as we continue our journey with JOANN. See ya.